The old Apple is dying, and John Ternus will either save it or destroy it. With Tim Cook stepping down, the company is facing the most challenging period in decades, and the next 5 years will define the future of the company. Apple only had 2 real CEOs in its history. The first one was Steve Jobs. He created the company, then he was removed and returned back in 1997 when the company was basically broke. And what did Jobs do? Change the history. The Mac, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, every new product was a revolution. Under Steve Jobs, Apple was not just making products, they were creating the entirely new product categories that never existed before. By the time Steve Jobs stepped down, Apple was the most valued company on the market. And right before passing away, Steve Jobs hand-appointed Tim Cook as his replacement. Everyone thought those shoes could never be filled, that the shoes were just too big, but Tim Cook delivered. He took the company when it was worth $350 billion and turned it into a $4 trillion company. Tim Cook was never a showman or a good presenter. He was always just a bureaucrat, someone who was good with numbers and books. He was never good with understanding the products, but he always knew how the company has to be run. And he did have his fair share of successes. The Apple Watch, AirPods, Apple Pay, Apple Music, Apple TV. He oversaw the most important transition in company's history, from Intel chips to custom-made Apple silicon. He brought new values to the company like sustainability and privacy above everything else. And he did all that when it was not mainstream. Was his tenure as exciting as Steve Jobs's? No, of course not. I would say it was rather boring. The products shifted from being revolutionary to just evolutionary. Every new iPhone for the past 5-7 years looks pretty much the same and feels accordingly. And a lot of people think that the magic is gone and the company has just gone safe and predictable. And that is exactly why Tim Cook chose John Ternus as his replacement. So who exactly is this guy? John Ternus joined Apple 25 years ago in 2001, and he started working on displays for Macs. He joined as a regular engineer, but over the next decade he would slowly climb up the ladder until in 2013 he became the VP of hardware engineering, and in 2021 he was promoted to SVP, which basically means he was in charge of developing all Apple products. Every iPhone, every Mac, every iPad, AirPods, everything was under his control. Just think about it, the guy who is gonna be in charge of Apple is not the marketer like Tim Cook. He's not the visionary like Steve Jobs, who was obsessed with idea and not the execution. He is the guy who understands exactly what technology can do, where the benefits are, and how to leverage all that for the benefit of the consumer. And if you think he has nothing to show for it, he was the guy who oversaw the transition to Apple Silicon, the most important one in Apple's recent history. He was the guy who oversaw the creation of AirPods, now the most popular headphones on the planet. He created Vision Pro, and MacBook Neo is his creation. By the way, I have a great video about MacBook Neo, so be sure to check it out here. So he's not just some random suit that's coming in from the outside. He knows everything about Apple products. He knows their shortcomings, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna fix the terrible design of the Magic Mouse. But him being the product guy is only half of what he brings to the table, because his personality is just as important. He's not Steve Jobs, he's not theatrical, he doesn't do all those dramatic pauses or one more thing. And he is not Tim Cook, he's not the boring bureaucrat that only cares about the financial numbers and appeasing the shareholders. I think in one of his interviews he said something like, "We never think about shipping technology. We always think about how we can leverage technology to ship amazing products." John Ternus doesn't really care about being the first, because he knows that by making the best technology, you will conquer the market naturally. And that is exactly what Steve Jobs believed in. That's what makes John Ternus the best replacement for Tim Cook. He is not obsessed, and he is not a corporate man. He is somewhere in between. I went through everything he ever said and condensed everything into 3 main pillars of Apple's new strategy. Number 1, design is everything. John Ternus knows that Apple has always been about good design, about standing out from the crowd and being a trendsetter in a way. So he is gonna invest more in the design, into creating products that look and feel unlike anything we've ever seen. But he's not gonna be obsessive about that like Steve Jobs or Jony Ive, because those two would sacrifice everything for the good design, like it happened with the butterfly keyboard, which ended up being a huge flop. Number 2, building things that last. Just look at the MacBook Neo. It is entirely the brainchild of John Ternus, and it ended up being one of the most repairable MacBooks Apple ever made. There is practically no glue inside, only 50 or something screws holding everything together. But it's not just about making repairable products. Ternus believes that they have to be durable as well, and that's why Ternus has been investing so much money into, for example, new glass for iPhones. The ceramic shield right now is some of the most durable glass on the market. 3. New tech has to earn its place. He believes that the technology has to earn its place before it ends up being a part of the new iPhone. That's why he's not gonna slap AI on every product that Apple makes. Just think about Apple Intelligence. For Tim Cook, Apple Intelligence was this huge PR moment to show that Apple is on the forefront of the innovation, that they are also AI. But it ended up being a huge disaster. And now Ternus will fix that by turning the iPhone from the AI device into a platform for AI. Apple will not be creating new models from scratch, but they will work with big companies like Google, Anthropic, or maybe OpenAI to use their models in new devices. And I think it's just the best approach Apple could have picked. But of course, the changes will not happen fast. Tim Cook is still a huge part of the company. He is stepping down as CEO, but he's still gonna be in charge of supply chains, building relationships with governments, countries, and so on. So for the first couple of years, Ternus will have to consult with Cook. And that's why you should not expect the new iPhones to be revolutionary. They will be evolutionary with a small twist of revolution, like the folding iPhone Ultra or the touchscreen MacBook. The products will be undoubtedly getting better every year, and I hope to see bigger leaps than we saw before. There's gonna be a lot of exciting stuff coming out in the upcoming years, and I'm pretty sure that 5 years from now, Apple will be a different company. Of course, it will share the same values of sustainability or privacy, but it will be a different company at its core, because instead of focusing on marketing, it will be focusing on delivering the best products possible. And Tim Cook is leaving the CEO position when the company has the most money it ever had, the most cash in hand, the biggest capitalization. Ternus can literally do anything he wants, buy every company he pleases to deliver the best products. But when you find yourself in charge of a $4 trillion company, you are under immense pressure, and not just from regular consumers but also from the shareholders. So Ternus will have to find the way to balance between pleasing the consumers and the shareholders. Shareholders, they want predictable income, they want more services, subscriptions, and so on. But we, regular users, we just want our products to be better. And I'm sure Ternus knows this. He will be the guy to finally make our dreams come true. Maybe it will not be crazy, maybe it will be somewhat safe, but slowly and steadily he will get us to where we wanna be. Steve Jobs brought Apple from the ashes to the top of the market. Tim Cook took that position and multiplied it by 10, making Apple the most influential tech company in the world. And Ternus just has to not fuck it up. Of course, he can go year after year doing the same stuff that Tim Cook did. Evolutionary upgrades, boring, predictable. And the company is still gonna make a ton of money. But he's the engineer, he's passionate about that. And that's why I'm sure the new devices we'll see from him will be better than anything we saw before. Ternus is not here to save Apple. The company doesn't need saving. It's the most profitable and valuable tech company in the world. But he might be exactly what the company needs to step into the next chapter of its story. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.